Tom here with Parks and Places Online. So you've got the travel bug and you're considering buying your first RV. But what's the perfect RV for you? So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the different types of RVs and give you the simple process to pick the perfect RV for you. So maybe you grew up in a family that had a pop-up camper being towed behind a minivan, or maybe you've never gone camping in your life, but you've decided to get an RV, but you're trying to figure out which one should you get. There's so many choices. So I'm going to start off by talking about the different types of RVs. There's basically three types. This might cover about 90% of the RVs. Understand that there's exceptions to these rules. But generally speaking, the three types of RVs are those that you drive, like a motorhome, those that you tow, a trailer, and those that you put in the back of a pickup truck. I grew up in a family, we used to call those piggybacks, but I don't hear that ever being called. They're called truck campers today. So starting with truck campers, the advantage of those is that they can go anywhere that the truck can go. So it's kind of like having a four-wheel drive motorhome. But you just have to realize that as you're bouncing down the road, your house behind you is bouncing behind you as well. And also watch out for low trees because you got that extra height. There are basically three types of trailers. Those that are pop-ups, those that you tow behind a car, called a travel trailer, and a fifth wheel, which specifically has to be towed in the bed of a pickup truck. Trailers tend to be the cheapest of your RV options, assuming that you already have a vehicle that you can tow it. The advantages of a trailer are that you take it to your campsite, you set it up, and then you have your truck, your SUV that you use to tow it to get around. The third types of RVs that I talked about is a motorhome. So motorhomes, generally speaking, are talked about as Class A, B, or C. Class A motorhomes look like a bus. Class C motorhomes have a van front with a bed over the top of the driving cab. Class B motorhomes are sometimes called camper vans because they take a van and then they build a camper inside it. The advantage of a motorhome is that you have everything with you at all times. So if you're driving down the road and you want to make a sandwich, passenger can go and make a sandwich without having to stop. Likewise, the passengers can use the bathroom. You've got everything with you at all times in a motorhome. You might think that the larger the motorhome, the more expensive. Oddly enough, that may not be true. With motorhomes, Class B tend to actually be one of the more expensive ones. Regardless of the type of RV that you get, the size, the floor plan, and the slides will determine the features that are included. Slides are walls or part of walls that slide out, giving you extra space when you're parked at the campsite. And then they slide in when you're driving around. Slides are great when they work, and they are a pain when they don't. Regardless of the RV that you get, the size, the floor plan, and the slides will determine what the features are that you have. But just because you have a bigger RV doesn't necessarily mean that you have more features. There are plenty of RVs that are huge, but their floor plan is such that they're only for two people with no kids. Should you buy new or used? That's another question. We have a 1998 Coachmen Starflight motorhome. It's 21 feet long. We bought it in 2009. It was 11 years old when we bought it, and we've had it for 11 years. I say these things because I want you to consider purchasing used. Actually, I want to encourage you to purchase used. The resale value on new RVs is lousy. But even if you've got the money, you may still want to consider purchasing used. Some people consider buying an RV like a car, when a better analogy would be like purchasing a brand new house. When you buy a house from a builder, it comes with a warranty that the builder honors, and the builder will take care of all those little problems. So a light switch that doesn't work, or a window that leaks, or nail pops. So the builder will come in and he'll take care of all those little problems that you had. A motorhome is kind of like buying a new house. It has a lot of little problems. Unlike a car that comes off an assembly line, a motorhome is built one at a time, just like a house. Although it might be unintuitive, buying a used RV could be in better quality than buying a new one, because the owner who bought it new got all those little bugs worked out. When you're buying used, one thing to very strongly consider was how it was used. This may surprise you, but the worst type of used RV to buy is one that's just slightly used. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them out there like that. People will buy an RV brand new, and they'll use it for a short period of time, and then life changed. And so that it sat there for maybe 5 years, and they finally decide to just get rid of that thing. So they sell a very slightly used RV. But since it's been sitting 5 years, consider buying such RV as buying an abandoned house. You'd rather buy a house from someone who's currently living in it than buying a house that's been abandoned for 5 years. This may not be obvious if you're buying an RV from a dealer, but if you're buying it from a private party, then you can ask them, hey, what trips have you taken in the last year? People are usually eager to talk about their travels. But if they come back and they said, oh, we haven't used it in a couple of years, then take that into consideration. Another thing to consider is the storage of your RV when you're not using it. That's actually one of the primary reasons why we bought the particular motorhome that we did. It's 21 feet long, bumper to bumper, and with Darlene spotting me, I can just make the turn to park that RV to the side of our garage. So where you're putting your RV when not in use is another thing to consider. You might have to pay for storage, or if you've got a family farm, you can park it on. So what are the things that we love and hate about our RV? Talking about this because some of them may apply to you. So what we love about our RV is the fact that we have everything everywhere, an advantage you have with a motorhome. So when we're at the trailhead, we have our hiking shoes, we've got our raincoat if weather would change during the day. When you're at the trailhead, you've got your bathroom with you. We've got all the food with us at all times. We can make yourself a sandwich or ice cream if it's a hot day. So we love the fact that we have everything with us at all times. We love how easy it is to set up our RV when we get to the campsite. If we're dry camping, then all we need to do is back into a spot until we're mostly level, put it in park, turn off the key, and we're done. If we're camping with electric, then we have the additional step of going outside and connecting the cord from the motorhome to the electric outlet. Big deal. And we love the short size of our motorhome, which allows us to go to a lot of places. A lot of roads have vehicle length restrictions. So I think of Hetch Hetchy out in Yosemite, or the Tail of the Dragon in the Smokies. So many roads have vehicle length restrictions. So it's nice to be able to go places with a 21-foot motorhome. So things that we hate about our motorhome. Probably the biggest one is the small waste tank. Our gray water tank is only 8 gallons. So if we both take a shower, that's about it. It's full for the day. So we are required to dump our storage tanks and fill fresh water every day. That's an inconvenience. The second thing we don't like about our RV is that it doesn't have a dinette. Well, it has a small dinette for one person. So we have to have a second chair, or a folding chair that we pull out for the second person. We would love to have a motorhome that had a dinette for 2 people. The third thing, we're getting less in priority, that we don't like is the fact that the bed has walls on each side. Even after 11 years, I still find myself banging my elbow or my knees on the wall as I'm sleeping at night. The other thing that I wish we had with our motorhome was the ability to go places that we can't go. Because it's short, we're allowed to go on roads with length restrictions, vehicle length restrictions, but we still can't go on 4x4 roads. So when you're camping, there's a lot of times that it would be great to have a Jeep and to be able to explore those roads, but we can't do that in our motorhome. So how do you pick the perfect RV? The process is actually pretty simple. The perfect RV is the one that gets you out now and that you keep using. That's it. Everyone has different limits. A lot of people, it's cost. So purchase an inexpensive RV. Maybe you can only tow something lightweight with your current vehicle. So purchase a pop-up. Or maybe you're thinking that you need an RV that'll sleep 8 people. Or maybe what you should do is you should buy an RV that sleeps 4 and put the 4 kids in a tent. Whatever your limits are, buy an RV that gets you out now, and that'll be the perfect RV for you. Stop the analysis paralysis and buy an RV before another year ticks on by. I'd like to hear your stories of RV purchases, what worked and what your regrets were. Include those in the comments below. My next video will return to the topic of parks and places online. If you like these types of videos, subscribe to this channel. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.